Hello everyone, welcome to Contentment Guide Astrology. So today I wanted to make a quick video because I get so many questions about people, first of all, questioning the validity of astrology, and also people just really seeing that astrology is valid and it works in their lives, but they don't necessarily understand exactly why. So I am Michelle Oberholzer. I am a mystic. I've been on a very mystical journey since I've been very young. And my current way of dealing and working and experiencing the mystical nature of the universe is through astrology. I see astrology really as a spiritual path in its own right. There's so much we can gain and learn about the universe and about ourselves by viewing it through that lens of astrology. So I do personal readings. You can contact me if you would like to know more about your personal chart, if you would like to understand yourself and your journey better, if you are maybe going through a bit of a crisis in any area of your life. Astrology can really give you guidance. It can really give you grounding and just change the energy with which you approach whatever experiences you are having in your life at this time. So, having said that, yes, astrology can be quite a controversial subject in some circles. So I thought, let me just talk a little bit for those who are curious and want to know more about how this works. And this is obviously the way I see things. So take what works. If it doesn't work, that's also fine. I'm just speaking to what I see and what my experiences are. So the way I see astrology is that it is divination. It is observable science, and it has been, I should say, a natural science in the sense that even for thousands of years BC, astronomers and spiritual mystics have been observing the sky and the planets and the moon at night and linking it to natural cycles in life. So through thousands of years of observing, they started to see patterns. So it is a very natural, observable thing that can be tracked over thousands and thousands of years. And nowadays, obviously with technology, we are using computer programs and things to make astrology very accessible to a lot of people. Whereas in the past and thousands of years ago, it was very specialized, and it really took lifetimes and lifetimes to sometimes come to an understanding, because these observable things would be handed down to spiritual leaders and mystics and seekers from one person to the next. And that's why I'm saying lifetimes, because just like in the Eastern spiritual traditions, these things were written down and they were talked about and they were verbally handed down from generation to generation. So it's something that people on this planet have been working with for such a long time, and that's why it is still so valuable to us now, because there's so much that we can take from the past and what people have really been working with for such a long time. It becomes a spiritual energy and frequency in and around the planet, and it also becomes a genetic thing that is really handed down in the cells and the atoms of our bodies from person to person. So yes, it is a divination process, and it is a natural science in that it is observable. And the reason that it works is because of the actual unity consciousness that we live in on our ultimate level. So ultimately, when you look at physics, and I'm no scientist, but physics will tell you that everything in the universe is interconnected, and things have a certain frequency, and that's why in our observable lives and experiences we are attracted to certain places and people, and this is all through the law of resonance and frequency. So if we think about unity consciousness or oneness, it really means that there is no separation between us and the moon, us and the planets. They really are a part of us. And like I've said in some previous videos, the further we go out in our solar system, the more we are dealing with subconscious patterning. So if we look at the physical universe, then we see distance. If we look at things from a physics point of view, where everything is one and really there is no time and space, then these planets are symbolic representations of certain frequencies and conscious and unconscious parts of ourselves. And this is why the birth chart and a transit chart can be so helpful, because your birth chart is a photograph of that moment in time you were born, and it tells you about different energies and frequencies, and also relationships and aspects between different parts of the universe. And like I said before, this has been observed for thousands of years, and very much experienced on a daily basis by people who work deeply with astrology. So because of this principle of oneness and unity, there really is no separation between you, the earth, the other planets. It's all an energetic bubble that we are living in, and all the energies represent different parts and show us different parts of who we are and who other people are. So a lot of mystics will tell you that we each live in our own energetic bubble, and so what we observe in this bubble as things being far away actually is just still in your own bubble, and that's why it is so personal to you, and that is why the planets can describe things in your life and about you so accurately. So my life really changed in the early 2000s. I've always been a seeker and very mystically inclined. I got that from my dad, who was very much that way and exploring those kind of things when I was very young. But in the early 2000s, I went through very big awakening processes. And two of the books that I can highly recommend that a lot of younger people would probably see as being outdated at the moment, but I can assure you they are not, because they're dealing with such profound principles. So the one book that really changed my life and made me understand how the universe operates is a book called The Tao of Physics by Fridtjof Chopra. And this book is a beautiful explanation of how Eastern spiritual traditions and physics actually tell us exactly the same thing. I highly recommend that you find this book or an audio version of the book if you would like to listen to it. It's very accessible, and it really explains why everything is so interconnected and why we see these patterns and these symbologies that we experience in our daily lives through the planets. And then the second book that really changed my life is a book called The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot. And when he wrote this book many decades ago, it was extremely controversial. And at the same time, the minute I read this book in the early 2000s, I knew that that principle of explanation of explaining the universe just completely resonates with me. It has such practical examples and such beautiful explanations and illustrations in it that really illustrates the oneness of the universe and the interconnectedness of what we see as physical parts in the universe. But they are actually just frequency and light and sound and energy, and it is all so interconnected. And it is all because of this interconnectedness that astrology works, because the planets, what we observe as the physical planets out there, they are just frequency and energetic symbologies that show us who we are. So I highly recommend that you tap into those two books. They are easy to understand. They are not highly scientific. The Tao of Physics may be a little bit more scientific than the Holographic Universe, but they are still accessible, and they will really enhance your understanding of the universe and how the interconnectedness of things really plays out in our daily lives. So I really observe from working with my clients that the most value they get from astrology is in the form of guidance and confirmations. And guidance in the sense that astrology is not deterministic. It is a natural energy that describes what may come upon your path in the future. So, for instance, if somebody is going through a transit in their fifth house, it's going to relate to their children, it's going to relate to their creativity, their romantic life, where they find joy in their life. And depending on what planet is moving through there, it can give you more energetic guidance on what may be taking place. So that is kind of like a container of what is happening energetically for that person, maybe in the next few months or in the next year. And the reason it is valuable is because it gives that person a understanding of making better choices. So it's not deterministic in the sense that it's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen in your life. It is a guidance in terms of telling you what energies are imminent, what energies are going to show up in your life, and it helps you to make better choices. And therefore it is extremely valuable. It is also a guideline in terms of that it tells you about who you are. It tells you about other people in your life and what they represent in your experience in this lifetime on this planet, and what might be your choices for what you are healing and what you are experiencing in this lifetime. It can be very life-affirming, and it can be so grounding in the sense that it just makes you feel at home in who you are. It allows you to see yourself and your positive and negative aspects as absolutely perfect, and to walk forward in a new way because you now understand that you've come to this specific lifetime for a reason, and the people and places and storylines and settings and experiences that show up in this lifetime, they are absolutely perfect for what you came here for, right now, you know, and what you are learning and experiencing. And the second part is receiving confirmation. So I often get clients who will show up and say, you know, I've been in the same job for 20 years and suddenly I feel like I want to make a change. I don't really understand why this is happening. It might not be extremely practical. But then when you look at the chart and you see that this person is maybe having a very important transit in their 10th house, which is to do with career, or in their 6th house, which is to do with work, then you can relate to them that whatever they are feeling is actually showing up right on time. You know, in astrology, you really deeply see the process of divine timing in such a beautiful way. We often get frustrated in terms of being human, that we want certain things a certain way, or we want things to happen in a certain timeline. But when you actually look at the astrology and you see how the energy and the frequency of the planets going around the zodiac tells you specifically, and also if you use timing techniques, it can tell you when big shifts are going to happen in your life. Even with clients, it's very valuable with astrology to look back, because often there are things in our lives that are so divinely timed that might feel really horrible and really challenging to go through at the time. But when you look back, you can see, wow, that exact time when that client decided to get divorced, there was a big transit and all the energetics happening in that space of oneness and interconnectedness pointed exactly to that relationship changing in a big way. And sometimes, you know, the transits, like I said, they don't have to be deterministic, but certain transits point to certain energies, and it can be that a transit to your relationship house or to your relationship planet can mean a divorce, it can mean a breakup, or it can mean a big change and stepping up to the next level of your relationship. So this is the first video I wanted to make, just to give some guidance and to really help people understand why astrology is so helpful and why it works. You know, everything in the universe is frequency and energy. And even if we look up at what we perceive as the physical planets in the sky, as they move through the universe, the solar system, the galaxy, they actually form spirals, they form circles, elliptical movements, and all of these different movements in the sky, they create frequency and sacred geometry. And all of this is related to our experience. And it is not that the planets are telling us what to do, or the planets are telling us, you know, you have to do this or you have to move in a certain direction. But it is literally that we are one with the planets, and they are simply a mirror of what is happening. Just as we are a mirror for the planets, they are a mirror for us. And it is it's a beautiful energetic way and a physical way of how we look at the planets and how they tell us what energies are showing up in our lives at this time. So I hope that this gave you a little bit of insight. I implore you, if you feel curious, to explore more and to walk more deeply into understanding the principle of unity consciousness, whether it is for you through science and physics, or maybe through Eastern spiritualities, or even through the very mystical teachings of Jesus, because Jesus also saw a lot of the universe in a very unity conscious way. And it's for that very reason that we still use the words Christ consciousness to this day, because Jesus was also bringing that message of unity consciousness and oneness onto this planet in a big way. So thank you for being here today. Please find those books in a physical version or audiobook version if you would like to tap more and understand more of why astrology works. And if you would like to learn more about how you can use astrology in your daily life, get in touch with me for a reading. I would love to serve you, and I love to start with clients in the most basic way. So it really helps them to understand the chart, and so that the astrology is not so overwhelming. Because yes, astrology is a very, very deep field. And even as an astrologer, you never ever stop learning, because you always see different frequencies, symbologies, and archetypes being expressed by the energies of the different planets. And yes, I can really help you to understand from a very basic place, and then deepen your understanding if you wish to do so. And yeah, just make sense of what is happening for you in your life right now, and how you can use astrology to really grow spiritually and feel more grounded and accepting and content in your own life experience. So please like, please share, please subscribe. I really value all your input. Please let me know if you enjoyed this. I thought I would give a bit more videos about spirituality and astrology, why they are linked, and also just more spiritual ways of looking at life on my channel. I will see you again next time.